Trump's true crime and other lessons from his New York trial. President Trump's actual offense at his New York trial was not a misdemeanor accounting violation magically transformed into 34 felonies. His crime was winning a presidential election and threatening to win another. New York Democrats prosecuted Trump solely to create a political advantage for their unpopular candidate by convicting and threatening to imprison his Republican opponent. It's really that simple. But employing our legal system as a tool of progressive politics comes at a great cost. It puts the integrity of that system and our republic at risk. Recognizing the inevitable impact political and cultural compassion can have on judicial proceedings, our legal system provides certain protections to assure its integrity. They include requiring that our laws be clear, our judges unbiased, and our prosecutors act as ministers of justice enforcing the law fairly, rather than using it as a political cudgel. Trump was denied these protections at every stage of his prosecution. First, the law. Because every citizen is responsible for knowing the law, laws must be knowable. The accused must understand what they are accused of, so that they can adequately defend against it. In fact, the Sixth Amendment provides the accused with a constitutional right to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. Trump was denied this most basic due process protection. According to CNN's chief legal analyst Eli Honig, District Attorney Alan Bragg inflated misdemeanors past the statute of limitations and electroshocked them back to life within the longer felony statute of limitations by alleging that the falsification of business records was committed with intent to commit another crime. Bragg inexcusably refused to specify what those unlawful means actually were, and the judge declined to force Bragg to pony up until right before closing arguments. So much for the constitutional obligation to provide notice to the defendant of the accusations against him in advance of trial. ABC's chief legal analyst Dan Abrams agreed, asking, why didn't the defense even know what the charge was that they were going to be applying, what law they were going to be applying? There were a lot of questions for the defense going into this, I think, as they were making their closing arguments, not even knowing what the law they were going to be battling over was. As accurately summed up by CNN's Honig, the charges against Trump were obscure and nearly entirely unprecedented. In fact, no state prosecutor, in New York or Wyoming or anywhere, has ever charged federal election laws as a direct or predicate state crime against anyone for anything. None, ever. Those charges were seemingly crafted individually for the former president and nobody else. Of course, an unbiased judge could have addressed those issues. So, how about Judge Merchan, who presided over the trial? Under New York's rules of judicial conduct, a judge is required to avoid even the appearance of impropriety in all of the judge's activities, and to perform the duties of judicial office impartially and diligently. In fact, a judge must, the rule says shall, disqualify himself in a proceeding in which the judge's impartiality might reasonably be questioned. Was this a case calling for disqualification under those standards? Well, to avoid that appearance of impropriety, the Judicial Code also specifically prohibits judges making a contribution to a political organization or candidate. But, according to CNN, Judge Merchan contributed to the Biden campaign, the Progressive Turnout Project, and an organization called Stop Republicans. Yes, it is actually called Stop Republicans. According to its website, the group is dedicated to resisting the Republican Party and Donald Trump's radical right-wing legacy. He contributed $35, which is a small amount, and would likely avoid deeper scrutiny in any other case, which may explain why it was so small. But keep in mind that for good reason, the Judicial Code prohibits making a contribution, regardless of size. People do not make contributions of this size because they believe it will impact an election. They do so to show they're on the team. In this case, Team Biden. The point of making such a contribution is to show partiality, that is, support for the candidate to whom, or the cause to which, you contribute. Why else contribute? So, might Judge Merchan's impartiality reasonably be questioned? Well, the defendant was the presumptive Republican presidential nominee. The judge not only supported his Democrat opponent, but also a group committed to stopping the Republican Party in general, and a guilty verdict could do just that.